Hey everybody, it's LaRonda and I'm back with another video. And today I just want to talk real quick about conversation. I am probably so old school to some of these people out here that I encounter on the dating sites when I'm on them and stuff because I'm one of those people that still prefers a phone call over a text. There are times where somebody will text me and I will read the text and maybe start replying and get sidetracked or thought I replied and like started punching it in but then forgot, or even maybe I didn't even start replying and I forgotten, and just later on I'll think like, why never so and so never wrote me back. And then I go back to the text and my thing is still there in the box waiting for me to hit send and stuff like that. Because I grew up in the age where people still talked on the phone. I didn't get my first cell phone until the 20s. And I certainly didn't do a whole lot of texting on my Nokia brick phone that I first had. So because you had to punch each letter like 3 times or 2 times to get the letter that you wanted. So it was just cumbersome. And so now, when I feel like everything has sort of shifted to this, 140 character culture that we have now. And so people like me that enjoy actually that, face to face interaction or even over the phone interaction with people where you can like converse with them and ask them questions in real time, and it can be a nice back and forth banter. And I miss those days, and I miss the days where people actually reciprocated questions. So if I asked you about what your hobbies were, you told me what they were, and then you asked me back what mine were. A lot of times I feel like I'm in conversations where it's just me asking questions and people answering them, and then there's silence waiting for me to ask something else. And so like I feel like in this culture where everything is done on your phones and everything is really short and sweet, people like me who like to use their words sort of get lost in the sauce, you know what I mean? And we don't I don't feel like sometimes that I fit into this dating world where people are just texting forever and sending WhatsApps and messages and whatever instead of like picking up the phone calling. Like people like me that want to call or that actually do call instead of texting are weird. Because in this world it just doesn't seem like that's a thing anymore. So like a lot of times when I'll go out with somebody, sometimes the questions are either it's so the conversation is so slow, or the questions are closed end. So like people should try, like when you go out on a date, listen to what the person, if you do happen to ask them a question, listen to what they're saying and try to grab clues from what the person is saying to use to formulate a new question, and hopefully they're doing the same thing. If you're with somebody that likes to converse, then hopefully they are doing the exact same thing. And that's what keeps the conversation flowing. I think of something to ask you from something that you said, and then that leads to a whole other conversation. I've had like little random questions about people turn into whole conversations about a book they read or some kind of philosophy that they have. And these are all things that you can use at a later date when you see or talk to that person again to connect with them again. I've had people tell me about books that meant something to them based on a question that I asked about what they would want everybody to know about them at first glance. And if they could put that thing on a t-shirt, what would you put on the t-shirt? And so then from there, it's a good question because it's not closed-ended. It's something that requires you to think, because a lot of people have never thought about like, what's the one thing I want everybody to know about me right away? That's not something that you've generally thought about before. So number one, you got to think about it. Number two, when it finally comes out, it may be something super thought provoking for you and for the person receiving that answer, because it's like, okay, well, why would you want that on a t-shirt? Where does that feeling or thought or idea on your t-shirt come from? What's the story behind it? So that gets us off into a whole other tangent of things that we could come up with 1,000 other things to discuss. And maybe that's where we'll find that common ground and find that we have something in common that we could continue on talking for hours about. But if you ask closed-ended questions or questions that only require like a quick, boring answer or 140 character answer, and if that's what our lives sort of revolve around, then, that's all we're going to get. And so my hope and desire is that I will attract in the people that enjoy having conversation, enjoy exchanging ideas, enjoy, the back and forth banter of, talking about things that maybe are not everyday conversations, but cause you to think and feel. That's the kind of people that I like to be around and that I hope I can attract into my presence. And a lot of times I do. But sometimes when I'm out here dating, that is just not the case. So what are some of your conversational do's and don'ts? What do you guys think you should do on a date? What kind of conversations are good to have? I know they generally say stay away from religion and politics, but even those conversations, if done in a respectful way, can be interesting. It's an exchange of ideas. If you've got somebody that's really mature and seems comfortable talking about any and every type of idea, then I don't see why that can't be a conversation, especially if you know how to keep it classy and respectful. So I don't know. What do you guys think? What kind of stuff do you like to talk about on your dates? What are some of your questions that pull out a lot of good information about the people that you're talking to? How do you talk to people to exude like a sort of charisma that I believe is needed to like gain people's trust and let people know that you're somebody that's interesting and fun, Anyway, I'll kind of leave it at that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really look forward to talking to you in the next video, and happy dating, everybody. Go out and have some good conversations. Bye.